and welcome to another review from Colour with Claire. Today we're looking at the Arteza Everblend markers. Now these are Arteza's alcohol marker range, so it's their kind of version of Copics or Spectrum Noir or Winsor & Newton Pro Marker alcohol-based ink markers. Now as you can see, they come as standard in this beautiful, very sturdy and heavy-duty case. It's got the handle on the top for you to take with you. On the back, you've got a little zipped pocket so that you can put any little extras in there that you need to carry around, maybe even your colour chart, so that you can whip it out and see all the different colours and what they look like. You've also got a bit of a printed colour chart here attached, so you can just reference that quickly if you want. But I always find with markers especially, it's always best to scribble them on a bit of paper and just chart them yourself just to see what they really look like on paper. So yes, we've got the handle. It also comes with, which I've taken off, a carry handle. So you can see here, I've got something on there, I think I've got some chalk pastel on there. You can see you've got the carry handle, and this enables you to put it on your shoulder and walk around with it. So you would attach these to the clips here, and then you've got your very own shoulder brace. So I've took that off because I'm not really planning on taking these out with me. You can see that on the front we've got a couple of clips that open up, and you've also got, very noisy, Velcro. So it really keeps all of your pens completely tight and together, and they're not going to fall out, or you know, the caps aren't going to come off and bleed everywhere and what have you. So it's really good at keeping the markers stored correctly and safely. So you can see the markers here as I stand the case up, all in a row. You can see all the numbers, you can see all the colour names. Very, very easy to pick out the colour you want very quickly. Now the case does come apart, so if you open these Velcro tabs at the side, very strong Velcro as well, by the way. So I'll open the tab that side and this side, and it all kind of falls open. Hopefully I can get this all on the screen to show you, but you can see here that there's a whole row of extra little loops for you to put any other pens or pencils or, you know, erasers or anything you want in there that you're going to need. I don't know why you'd need an eraser for these, but you might want to just put all different things in there. You might want to put a whole bunch of pencils and then rubbers and whatever. So you can see that each kind of row of pens is separate to one another. These don't come off, so it's going to have to stay inside this case, but each one has a separate little flap, so you can use your blues and greens. You can come to the end, use all your greys, or your orange and yellows and purples. So yeah, it's really good how it kind of flattens out and you can see what you're doing. Now the pens themselves, if I just grab one, you can see that they're triangular barreled, so they're really comfortable to hold. They've got that kind of ergonomic shape for your hand just to go around there and hold them for extended periods of time. As I did show you, they have the number and name on the top there. So this is A8272 Denim Blue, and that's on both sides as well, so it doesn't matter which way you put it into your case, you're still going to be able to see what colour it is. Now on the barrel we've got the Arteza Everblend art marker. We have the Art and Creative Materials Institute certified stamp, and that's it. So very, very basic barrel, and you can see on one side you've got the bullet nib symbol and the other is the chisel. So let's take a look at those. So here is your basic bullet nib. This gets into really tight areas. It's conically shaped, so it can go a bit thicker, it can go very, very fine, which I'll show you in a moment. On the other end you have the chisel. So this is a basic kind of feature on most alcohol markers, the chisel. It would have been really nice to have a beautiful brush tip on these like the Copics, but I'm pretty sure that that would have made them a bit more expensive. So you can see at a glance which end is which from both the little symbol there, and also your bullet nib end will always have the colour sort of banded around under the cap there, so you're going to know straight away which end is your bullet, because I think that's probably what you'll be using the most. So as you can see, they fit very, very snugly into these elastic loops. They're not going anywhere, they're completely rigid, and as I said earlier, they're not going to fall out or what have you in your bag. So let's have a look at the actual colours of the markers. So if I just move this out of the way, in fact, I might just Velcro it back up again. It's just easier without having it flapping around everywhere. So just putting the two bits of Velcro together, really quick and then you're back to your upright case and it's all there ready for you. So here we go with the colour swatches that I've made. As you can see, here are all the different colours. Very, very vibrant, beautiful, bold colour. We've got loads of pinks and purples. There are not too many reds in this one, which I think they're kind of lacking in. Loads of yellows, greens, blues, a few browns, but mainly reddish browns. We could have done with a few more different browns in there. And then some kind of unusual shades that you don't often find. This sage green. Where's the other one? This pear green as well is quite unusual. We also have a beautiful true coral, which you don't often find in pens, and a gorgeous kind of very desaturated watermelon pink. So yes, if I was going to say switch some of the colours out, I would say take a few of these greens that are very similar to one another and put in a few more reds or a few more browns. The greys, we've got mainly cool greys. In fact, I can't see any warm greys here at all. So again, if we had a bit of a bigger set, I would expect to see more greys and more reds. So doesn't matter really about the lack of reds in this, because you do have a larger set that you can purchase, which is a set of 120 markers. But that's only available in the US at the moment. So what often happens with Arteza is the US will have all of the new products first, and then a little while later the UK will follow, and that's what's happened with these. These weren't available until very, very recently. And also the Twi markers that I showed you on the previous review, they have only just come over from the US as well. So I would definitely say that the 120 set of Everblends will come over to the UK Arteza at some stage, probably not too far into the future. But this is a really nice set of 60. It's a really good selection of colours. As I said, slightly lacking in the reds, the browns and the greys, but if you're into your marine colouring, your landscape colouring, colouring flowers and florals, you can't go wrong with this set. So just to prove the blending capabilities of these pens, here is a picture that I've completed only with this set of 60. So this is from the book, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I have reviewed it and I think I've tried to pronounce it on that video, but I'll put a link in the description for this book if you want to find it. And I thought, what better picture to do than a big floral picture that has a lot of wide open spaces that we can see all the different blends on. Now some colours do blend better than others, as you can see in certain flowers. Say for example this blue here, we've got quite a deep dark rich blue and then a very, very light icy blue, and they didn't blend particularly well together. But you've got to expect that, you know, even with Copics you have a whole range of different tones to blend right up into a seamless kind of look. With these, this is two very different shades of blue, but on the whole, gorgeous, gorgeous blendable pens. You can see with the reds, the purples, again this watermelon and coral. I really enjoyed using them actually, and I think it looks really bright, vibrant and beautiful. But don't forget that alcohol markers will bleed through almost anything that you use, so please do not use them on double-sided colouring books unless you are willing to sacrifice the image behind. Also remember to always put a bit of paper or card underneath the image you're working on, because it will seep through to the next image. So there we go. I'm going to have a look quickly now, showing you the line thicknesses of the pens so that you can see what that's like. I'll just do it on the end here. So I've just grabbed this sapphire blue, and here is the bullet nib. So you can get really, really thin, consistent lines. With the same bullet nib, you can get a little bit thicker, and if you just adjust your angle a little bit, you can get even thicker. So that's just with the one bullet, but of course you've got the chisel there as well to fill in some really large gaps if you need to. And if you layer your alcohol marker, you'll find it gets darker and darker, and then it can't get any darker, you know, once you've completely saturated and filled the paper. So this isn't quite completely saturated yet. You can see there's still some white speckle. So if I completely saturate that with ink, and it's gone onto my book, you can see this is totally soaked through now, and that is the true colour of the alcohol marker. Because you can layer it and it gets darker and darker as you layer, it's sometimes confusing why you still find streakage when you're colouring with alcohol markers, because of course they're supposed to be seamless and beautiful and not supposed to streak at all. But the trick is that to get the true colour of the pen, you need to completely saturate the paper, and then it won't get any darker than that. I do explain this a little bit better in my Spectrum Noir alcohol marker video, which I will link below. But yes, you can see that this is much darker here than this line because I've completely layered it. So I'm really impressed with these pens because it's hard to find a set of 60 different colours of alcohol markers without spending over £100. You can obviously get the Touch New markers, which are quite cheap. You can get them off places like Wish and Banggood and all of those sites. But I often find that a lot of the tips are frayed, a lot of the colours are very, very similar to one another, and they just don't seem to have the build quality of these. And of course you are getting the beautiful storage case as well. So if you're wondering about price, this set of 60 is currently on sale for £66.89 on Arteza UK. That's obviously including the case. On Arteza US, you're looking at $69.99 US. Now, if you wanted that bigger set of 120 that's only available in the US, they're currently selling at $118. And you can also, in the US, buy singles of these pens. The singles actually come in a pack of 4. So say you wanted a brand new pumpkin orange, you couldn't just buy one, you'd have to buy the pack of 4 pumpkin orange, and those packs are $8.99. Now, if you want to go ahead and buy some of these pens for yourself, please don't forget to use my Arteza code for 10% off. It's Colour with Claire 1, and that's up to, I think, the 10th of June. I'll confirm that and I'll put it in the description below, but use that and get 10% off, just to give yourself a bit of a discount. And yeah, I really love to know what you think of these pens. Alcohol markers, they don't really need a whole lot of extensive testing because they're all pretty much the same, whether you go from Copics to your Touch News. The ink, it acts the same. It's often the build quality. Obviously you've got your brushes with Copics that you don't often find anywhere else, which varies the price. So yes, let me know what you think. If you've got the Arteza Everblends, I'd love to know what you have coloured with them. Let me know, show me on Facebook, show me on Instagram. There's a couple of little tricks I will show you though before we leave. And I'll just use this again, why not? So you can do the touch tip method with these, the same as you would with chameleon pens. You can do that with pretty much any alcohol marker. You can do it with Sharpies if you wanted to. It's not something that is, it's only chameleon only. So let's have a look at the colours. Let's pick a couple that are going to blend quite nicely. Let's go for the royal purple and the lavender, because there's quite a lot of shades in between those colours, and see what happens. So we've got the royal purple and the lavender. Now the touch tip technique, you always have your lightest colour on the top. So I'm going to take the lavender, I'm going to stand up this royal purple, and I'm going to touch the tip of the lavender to the tip of the royal purple. So hopefully you can see that. And we're going to keep it together for a few seconds just to let the ink of the lavender pen sort of diffuse into the tip of the royal purple. And don't worry, this is not going to stain or ruin your pens. They will just blend out, as you'll see in a second. So once you've had your tip on there for a little while, the longer you leave it, by the way, the longer your blend will be. Then you can see that it starts off that beautiful light lavender, and it slowly starts getting darker and darker in a very, very smooth transition until you arrive back at your original colour, which was the royal purple. So if you are, or if you think you're quite inept with blending alcohol markers, or you're quite scared of using them, don't know what you're doing, this is a really, really good way of starting off and getting a beautiful seamless blend in one go. Another tip or trick that you can do with these, if I just get let me just use my trusty plate. So any kind of surface that's non-porous, this pack of pens comes with a blender. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same royal purple and I'm going to scribble a little bit of the colour onto my surface here. I'm then going to take this blender pen and I'm going to pick up some ink. So you can see that the blender, the tip of the blender is now dark and it's purple, it's picked up the ink. So at the side here you can see we've started off with purple, it's getting lighter and lighter, and it will eventually fade out into nothing. So if you're wanting to blend a colour out into white, that's a perfect use for the blender. So that's one way of doing it. You can also use the blender with the touch tip technique. So what I would do on this one is put your royal purple on the top and let some of that sink down into the blender nib. So you can see that's full of ink. This is much darker this way because obviously you're doing it direct tip to tip. You can see we've gone from the deep full colour of the royal purple and we're now blending out into the white of the paper. So don't worry about your blender. It may stain, but it doesn't mean that the purple is going to stay on there forever. If you give it a quick sort of wipe like this, get all of the purple out, it may remain stained, but it's actually clean now, as you can see. So there's a couple of little tips. I think the best one, you can agree, is the tip to tip method with the different colours. With the blender, you do get this little bit of streakage going on unless you're very careful or you're colouring in a very small area. But yeah, a couple of tips and tricks for you there. You can layer this up, by the way, if you wanted to do purple to purple and then go straight in with a bit of blue. You could go blue, purple, and then down to a darker colour. You can layer on as many colours as you like. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this little video showing you these brand new alcohol markers from Arteza. If you can't afford the big expensive Copics and you just want to try some out, you want to get a really decent set to start you off, this is a great product for you to do that. So let me know what you think. As always, leave me a comment, and again, if you have used these markers, please show me your work on Facebook. I love seeing all of your different art. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to use your 10% discount code if you do buy. All the links will be in the description, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.